Future Growth and Vision Network. This is my Car Talk podcast that I do on Thursday afternoon. Why? Because it's usually my kiddos doing stuff, so I'm like a good chance for me to visit. I want to talk about holiday traditions, what I did when I was a kid, what I do now as a parent, and what that looks like. So if you hear your holiday tradition, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, give me a share, put in there, put in the chat what it is that you like to do. And let me go ahead and make sure that we're all kind of like celebrating together. It is a little unique. Why? Because my kids tomorrow have a football day off. Why? Because I live in Norman, so they get OU's in the playoffs, so they're gonna have the day off. So that's weird, but there you go. There's all that's happening. So when I was little, one of the things that was unique is I grew up where my parents didn't have a ton of money, so they made ornaments for me. So I have homemade ornaments that are incredible. My dad was a carpenter, and my dad would cut blocks, and my mom would put little pins in them, and they made little rotor phones, and they hung them up. My mom got all those amazing ornaments where you put the pins in them, and you made all the spiky ones, and they're really beautiful, and we put them all over the tree. So I have those. I definitely remember when we were younger, we had live Christmas trees because we lived in Minnesota and there was a bunch of trees out there. You cut one down, you put it in the house, and you would have tinsel on it, and you would get all the things. And so it was a big deal to do that. And then the ornaments were most of them handmade. And so we didn't have a ton of ornaments at the time, so we just kind of did that. So it was very cool. I didn't have a ton of presents, but it was a lot of love. I do remember I got a Tonka truck, big old Tonka truck, and some things like that to play with. And my dad made a lot of my blocks. And so there's a lot of what we got was homemade. My grandmother would sew clothes for us and all that. I didn't appreciate that at the time, I'll be honest. I was a kid, but I mean, now, of course, I appreciate all the seamstress and the stuff that she did. But so that was amazing. And so when I was a kid, we would do fun stuff. I was in a Christmas program, got to wear tights for the first time, and I was an elf, which was just wild and crazy. I've been an angel in Christmas programs and things like that at church. So in youth, we sang Amy Grant songs and all that. It was a big deal. We did a big production. So it was like that. So Christmas was usually very, very normal. We have stockings, and we still have stockings for our kiddos. And yes, they're getting a little bit older for that, but at the same time, we're still doing it because I'm like, it's the magic is the magic. And as long as you believe in magic, we're good. It's if you stop believing in the magic that becomes a problem. So we like to keep the magic alive in our house. But so what would happen also is the family would get together. We would bring in everybody from all over the place. So I have family in Minnesota and Oklahoma and Texas and all over, and they would all meet at my grandmother's house on Christmas Eve. Well, grandma's house on Christmas Eve included amazing things. Food was number one. Grandma could cook, and we'd all sit at one table. The adults would sit at the big table, the kids at the small table, of course. And we would get together and we'd eat. They'd make salads, and they'd make incredible food, and they would just make sure that it was ham, and we'd have frog eye salad, which is a cine de pepe noodles with fruit in it and a bunch of things. Hello, vanilla acorn. Hello, silk. Hi, good to see you. It has been, so that's amazing. And we had, of course, cranberries, both jellied and sauce, because some people liked one or the other. We had turkey and just amazing things that were just fun to do. Then we would sing Christmas carols. And my grandmother played the piano. So we would sit, before you did packages, you had to do Christmas carols. So we would sing Christmas carols. And actually, right after dinner, the adults cleaned the kitchen, which I don't know how that worked out. But then my grandfather took all of the kids, loaded us up in like a truck or a pickup or whatever, and we go look at lights. So while we were doing lights, the adults were in the kitchen cleaning, and they were connecting and visiting their brothers and sisters and getting to know each other and getting to visit and spend time together. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. So that was really neat. And then we would come back, and before the present started, you had to do two things. One, everybody had to get a pad and pencil. Why? Because you were going to write thank you notes. And handwrite thank you notes to everyone that you got a gift from. And somebody would be writing You got a scarf from Aunt Gertrude. You better tell Aunt Gertrude thank you for everything. And so it was one of those things that you had to do that. That was part of the deal. Well, then the second thing that happened is we would go to church. So we had to go to a church service and we go to a candlelight service. And at the end, of course, you always did the same thing. You got little candles with the little things and you lit them and you sang Silent Night as they were shutting the lights down. And it was very beautiful. Then we would come home back to the house, back to my grandma's house. And then we would sit down and get ready to do packages. So we get all of our paper and pencil out. We would then, at that point, get out the Bible because you had to read the Bible verses. And as kids, we're like, oh my goodness, why is this taking so long? We just did not understand all that. We were like, when are we going to get to it? And then the second thing was a kid had to read a Night Before Christmas story. And we read the Night Before Christmas every year before you get to open your packages, which I think is amazing. And I still do that with my boys. I like them to read that in the Bible verses so that we know why we're celebrating this season and also the excitement of the story about Night Before Christmas. Well, then, hello there, Mason. Is it Mason Myers and Mara? 2016. So it is really amazing. Then afterwards, we start unwrapping packages. Now, the way that worked usually was the little kids got to go first. So as you grew older, you started to figure out some things. One, you didn't get as many toys. And two, you weren't first. You ended up having all the older kids go first. So it was a little bit different. Thank you for being a fan. Thank you for being a top fan. I appreciate it. So I really loved that part of it. But at the same time, as I was getting older, I'm like, wait a minute. Can I tell you one of the craziest gifts my grandfather ever gave me? He gave me a case of oil. And I thought, why does he hate me? I had a car at the time. Little did I know that I did not have to buy oil for an oil change for a year. So it was the best gift, and I had no idea I would even like it. But it was a strange gift. So we would get our gifts, we would get our presents and unwrap everything. And every once in a while, everybody take a break and we'd, throw all the wrapping paper in the trash. And then we keep going and we go around and around and around and around. And usually the parents waited till the end. Honestly, the one passing out the packages had to wait till the end. And if there was food, it was always the same. It was like, oh, I don't want to show anybody this, because then you knew you were going to have to share, so they would go hide it. Because, that's just the way that you do things. I mean, now we're just like, hey, let me see that. So that was just fascinating. And then we would get done with Christmas and we would go ahead and we would hang out and watch other movies and things like that. And hello, Jenna. So it is really an amazing thing. Now, that is when I was younger. Now, Christmas Day, very traditional. You get up, you go get your stockings. We would unwrap packages in the morning. But we would drive home on Christmas Eve to be at our house on Christmas Day, because we wanted to make sure that you knew that you get your stocking, and it was amazing. Later in life, when we got to be adults, my mom still gave us stockings, but it was in a Walmart bag. And I thought it was hilarious. So we get that. Or she would still stuff our stockings, but it was really practical. So we're like, all right, we would get pencils and pens and things like that for school. So it's very different. And then she throw something silly in there because she just thought we needed it as adults too. So that was fun. That's when I was, again, in my house at home in Altus, when I lived in the Altus area. Well, then, as I got married and I moved away, it's like it started to change a little bit. We still go home for Christmas because I was in college and we come home. But it would be not on Christmas Day necessarily, because I was starting to date. And at that point, and when we were dating and we got married, well, then you have two families. Let me tell you, multiple families at Christmas time is very different. Why? Because you're like, whose family did you go to? Did you go this person or that person? So there's always this back and forth. So my parents tended to wait a couple weeks after Christmas or after New Year's, and then we go down there and do it at that point, which is a little different. It is a little different. I mean, because Christmas season, everything's ramped up. Then by afterwards, they're kind of like, we're done. Well, so we would get another Christmas afterwards. So that was cool. But then my wife and I would do that. We go visit families back and forth, and we did that for several years. Well, then we now have kids. So now our traditions are a little bit different. They have an amazing opportunity. They get a couple presents ahead of time. And then Santa Claus comes. and brings a giant like bag and a chest. And the bag and the chest is really cool because the chest, I believe they get the night before, and that is, it has pajamas in it and movies in it and things like that to get ready for when they come and visit. When Santa comes to visit, and then in the morning there's a giant bag that says Santa was here. And I mean, that is amazing and super fun for them, and it's incredible. And again, they're going to be 11 and 12 at this point. So it's going to be amazing. So that is kind of what they do. Now, Christmas morning, we do the same thing. We unwrap packages. The kids get the packages out. We go around the thing. We don't do anywhere near as many packages as my mom did and my mom and dad did. We're more reserved on that, but we go do amazing things. So here's a couple other traditions we do. We go and watch the lights, go see the lights every year. Every year, my boys watch the original Grinch, and my boys watch the original Charlie Brown Christmas. Now, when they watch the original Charlie Brown Christmas, my sister bought me a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. So we set up the Charlie Brown Christmas tree to go with it. The Grinch, I like the 25-minute version. I love that, and I know all the words, and I think it's fun. And we just enjoy it, and we'll have popcorn, and we'll watch movies, and we'll hang out. We go to the Christmas parade in Norman every year, and now it's become Winterfest. So you have Christmas parade, you have a laser show, you have a drone show, you've got shopping and caroling and all these things that are going on. So it's like a full-on festival. So that is a lot of fun as well. And then, what else do we do? Oh, we like to go to Chickasha, Oklahoma. They have an incredible light display. We like Downs Family Farm, and then there is a farm on 24th North that they have a light display. And we go there every year, and you sit in your car and you watch that. And that is a lot of fun as well. We, of course, do cookies and hot chocolate everywhere. This year has been hot chocolate year. This is the first year my wife and I went to Wells Family Farm. We haven't brought the boys yet. Where you can go out and it's a Christmas tree farm and do some things like that. What else do we do? Like I said, I love looking at lights. We usually will go do something because it's also my boy's birthday around Christmas, so we do birthdays too. So there's a lot happening all at once. But a lot of it's cooking and watching movies and hanging out, spending time together and really connecting and taking the time because we all are in the education world. So we get a break. So it is very nice for us to take that break and really just kind of get some things done. Then if they get Christmas presents, they get to do that. Now that has changed over the years because they got toys all the time. Now they're wanting electronics and cash. I'm like, oh Lord. And then I told you guys before, my oldest, he was a little bougie. He wanted a 3D printer. We're like, listen, buddy, what kind of miracle do you think is going to happen that you have like thousands of dollars of a big old 3D printer to come and make your stuff? So I'm like, it was fascinating. But the other thing that we like to do is, of course, New Year's, we just stay home, and the boys end up going to bed early. They don't generally stay up till midnight. My wife and I do, and then we just hang out and spend time together, and one of us will fall asleep. At this point, we used to go and do downtown, and we go to opening night, and we would, when we were younger, go out and do all that. We like to make a bunch of snacks and eat and watch movies, and not eat food, but snack food. It's a lot of fun. But those are just some of the things that we do, some of the traditions we have. There's a lot of others, of course, and I would love to know what you do for the holidays. So if you want to put below what you do, what is your tradition? What kind of tradition do you have during this time of year? Is there food you eat? Is there something specific? My background is Polish, and so we did lefse and lutefisk and some things like that from when I was like my history and legacy. So we also do usually something service related. We'll go volunteer, and we'll volunteer with a group, and it's a lot of fun as well. It's a way to give back and let people know that, they mean something to you, and to really like honor and help your community during this time. And of course, if you've watched my channel at all, I promote everything all the time. Businesses, people that I like, people that I have relationships with, all these things that are happening because it's important to me to kind of give back in that way as well. So I did want to just jump on here and let you guys know that these are my traditions. I'm wishing you guys a happy holidays. I will probably not do a video next week. A quick one I will, because it'll be Christmas time. And then after that, we'll start to look at what we're doing for 2026. I'm going to do a lot more car talks, so you're going to be able to watch these. If you're not, you should be subscribed. Get on here, subscribe. Bring friends, let them subscribe to you. You guys can watch together, critique me, and do the things that you need to do. Hello, Dragon Loves Gator. Welcome. So I hope, and thank you for the hearts. I appreciate that. I really do. But thank you, and have a great season. And I will be talking to all of you soon.